This video is a little bit different, and it's a story I never thought I would be telling. It's about how I, an experienced traveller, got robbed and assaulted right in the heart of Hanoi, Vietnam. I absolutely love Hanoi. It's an exciting city with so much energy, history, and incredibly friendly people. But like any big city, it has its dangers. Unfortunately, I let my guard down and got myself into a very sticky situation. This is the story of how my last night in Vietnam went from amazing to a nightmare, and the lessons I learned the hard way. So sit tight and I'll tell you how I got myself into big trouble. It all started really the day we arrived at the airport, and I needed to get some of the local cash, the local dong as it's called. I tried to use the ATM machines at the airport, but none of them would give me any money. Two of them even had a notice written in English attached to them saying, "Beware of card skimming." I ended up exchanging a small amount of money at the airport's exchange shop at a ridiculously high rate. I got enough dong to cover the basics and to get a taxi ride to our hotel in the city centre. When we arrived at our hotel, the staff at the chic boutique Hotel Hanoi were extremely understanding and helpful. They suggested I pay for everything all at once on the last day of our stay. They didn't even need a deposit. That included 2 nights stay and 2 day trip. One to Ninh Binh, the other an overnight cruise in Ha Long Bay. They were really so accommodating, it set my mind at ease, but with future events looming, maybe a little too much at ease. Later that evening I tried to get some cash out of a local bank, but once again the ATMs just wouldn't let me have any money. A local man in the bank explained to me that the ATMs there had facial recognition, and if I hadn't had my face registered, then I wasn't going to get any money. No dong for Swinn. We had a great time on our sightseeing trips, but both started very early in the morning, so I never got a chance to sort out any local cash. It was now our last evening in Hanoi, and I really wanted to go and see the water puppet show, as well as sample some of the local food in the night market. So now I needed some local cash. Here's where I made my first mistake that got me into trouble later. You see, I normally travel with 2 wallets. One for my home currency and credit cards, which I call my big wallet. That's the one I usually lock in the hotel room. And my other wallet, which usually has just a small amount of local currency. The problem was I had no idea where I was going to get the cash, so in a bit of a rush and dying to get out and a little bit tired, I took both wallets with me and zipped them up in my shoulder bag. As luck would have it, I found a travel shop come money exchange not far from our hotel. I managed to get some cash, and walking through the busy streets we made our way to the Water Puppet Theatre. The whole area was packed with tourists, but we paid our money and went into the theatre and enjoyed the show. But this place was very busy. It was absolutely heaving with people. After the show ended, we decided to make use of their toilets. We were in a happy mood, but I was really totally unaware of the dangers ahead of me. The queue for the toilets was long, busy and chaotic. We shuffled along slowly for a while, but then suddenly in front of me a man suddenly acted like a crazy. He was waving his hands over his head and shouting something in a language I just didn't understand. Just a few moments later I'd made it to the entrance of the gents' toilet. But as I tried to enter, a large man partially blocked my way. As I sidled by, another man came from behind. He grabbed my shoulder very hard, and before I knew it, my knees were on the floor and my head was touching the ground. Then suddenly, they were gone. All 3 men had disappeared. I knew what was happening. I checked my bag for my big wallet. It was gone. I shouted and ran after them, but they were gone. They disappeared. I couldn't see them anywhere. I was in shock, but I knew these guys were pros. They had got away with 200 English pounds, 10,000 Thai baht, 4 credit cards and my UK driving licence, as well as my favourite wallet. I reported the incidents to the theatre security, but they were no help at all, quite frankly. They did tell me there were security cameras in the area, but only the police were allowed to look at them. A lady of the theatre staff who spoke fairly good English told me that what I needed to do was go and see the police. So, with heavy heart and not much hope, I set off to find the police station. After taking directions, we walked this way and that way through the old streets of Hanoi, and then, to my amazement, after about 15 minutes, there we were, standing right in front of it. It didn't look much, it looked more like a retail shop than a police station. We went in and there was only one policeman and he was dressed more like a military officer than a policeman. With his very poor English and me waving my hands around, I finally managed to explain what had happened and what I wanted. He wanted to know the details of my hotel. Unfortunately, I always managed to get a card from the hotel before I go anywhere, so I was able to pass that on to him. He noted down the details and said, "Sit. Wait." It was then I bumped into an English lady who apparently had had her iPhone stolen. Well, after about 40 minutes, the night manager from the hotel turned up. He's a really nice chappie and speaks perfect English. He explained to me I needed to fill out a statement form, which he would then later translate into Vietnamese, which could then be passed on to the policeman. I started to write the form, which had to be in my own hand, and I started to shake, and tears came into my eyes, and it was then I realised that I was much more affected by this incident than I thought I was. It's worth remembering that these people not only steal your money, they also take away a bit of your confidence. The hotel's night manager, otherwise known as Nighty, was absolutely brilliant. He was kind, considerate and helpful. It was fortunate that the night market was adjacent to the street that I actually wanted to visit. So I thought, stuff it, I'm not letting those bar lamps ruin my night out, and we went for a walk down the night market street. We hadn't had anything to eat and we were absolutely starving. As we walked along, the atmosphere was terrific, and as luck would have it, there were many restaurants still open. They were all pretty busy and they all were selling fabulous local food. Fortunately, it's still got my small wallet with some dong in it, so I was able to buy ourselves some food and a beer. Inside my head, I was still well peed off, but we made the best of it. Hanoi is a generally safe, fun and nice place to visit. Beware of areas where there are lots of tourists, because that's where these rats are bound to be. And I'm still impressed how good the staff of the chic boutique hotel Hanoi are, and especially Nighty, the night manager, who was really kind to me. I hope by sharing this with you that you've managed to learn something so that you can avoid it happening to you in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon.
Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.